So we have been talking a lot about what happened in the BRI and what it's happening right at the moment. But now in the last sessions of the last part of the panel discussion, I want to looking towards the future. Now is the exciting time, right? Like looking towards the future as we slowly emerging out of the pandemic. So bringing it back to the original questions of this special panel discussion. So we're looking towards the post-COVID-19 world. So will the BRI reshape the global economy or the existing order? I mean, it's just an open question, but I have a more specific questions for three panelists. Is that what role will Canada and Denmark play in the BRI? Seems like two of you come from Canada and Li Xing from Denmark. So I wonder, right, if you were have to give policy recommendations to Canadian policymakers or Danish policymakers, what would you say on the BRI? So let's say if you you are invited to the Canadian Parliament or to the Danish Parliament to give like a speech, what would you say to the policymakers?
I was invited to BNI events 2 years ago in the Danish Parliament. Some politicians attended the events and 6 ambassadors from the Balkans, from Eastern Europe, and including the Chinese, they were there. So they discussed the prospects. But let me tell you that Denmark, and I think Denmark and also Canada, in the Chinese eye, are the closest airline of the United States. Okay, Denmark in Europe is very close to United States. So sometimes I even doubt that Danish foreign policy is independent, because very much it is surrendered to the US pressure. And so in this sense that Denmark is not very active in, not very warm and active in receiving BNI. I attended several events, but mostly is theoretical debates and some kind of policy implication, but not quite substantial actions. Huawei has a division here in Denmark, Copenhagen, but it's mainly for the service and not for anything else. Okay, so in that sense, I think Canada is in the same situation sorry. So I think that it's Denmark is not part of Belt and Road. You understand? And if you look at the Belt and Road project, Denmark is not part because it ends in Germany. Actually, it can reach Germany. But Denmark is part of the debate of an idea, but I think this idea is gradually disappearing, which is called polar Silk Road, okay, in Arctic region. But Canada is also in Arctic and active in Arctic. So in that sense, I think that I'm not very optimistic towards the future of BNI debate in Denmark. And I do not see that the Danish politicians and business people are very active in even I've heard that Denmark withdraw from its membership in AIIB. I don't know whether Canada has withdrawn from that as well. I don't know, but anyway, go ahead, Adam and Daniel.
Go ahead, Daniel. You can have a stab at this.
I was very interested in Professor Lee's comment. I think the agenda of the Canadian government, well, first I say I did attend the Canada-China Business Association, which brings together Canadian economic elite, a couple of their meetings. I was very surprised to learn that very few Canadian firms have partnered with state-owned enterprises in China. The several ones that did were in, not surprising, in the oil sector, in the energy sector, supplying some kinds of services to one of the SOEs. And when they even commissioned a report, which I looked at, is public report, and it's surprising how little attention, how few Canadian firms are participating. On the other hand, Canadian firms want to trade more with China. Trade between China and Canada is grown, but it is not directly tied to the BRI and is not, BRI is seen as, I suppose, by Canadian business as quite complex, somewhat outside their pay grade. I think the focus for the Canadian government is to focus on bringing the two Michaels, the two Canadians who have been held captive in China as exchange hostages for Madame Meng, who is a hostage in Vancouver. So there could be a trade between Canada and China through the offices of Biden. If they drop the charges, I guess, against Meng, the two Michaels will come home. So that's really a huge preoccupation of the Canadian government. Canadian government is a late joiner of the AIIB. It did not, for first couple of years, it was not part of it. Finally, the government decided to join after many of its allies, including Britain, European countries, a variety of, well, a lot of countries are a part of the AIIB. It's paid its contribution to the board, which is the infrastructural bank is operated arm's length. China does not have a majority on the board. So I would say that Canada is really very standoffish. I'd say it's probably hostile to the BRI, and it accepts the Biden view that China is a strategic competitor, and Canada backs, I think, the American position 100%.
And I just want to add that you mentioned Madame Wang and the two Michaels, and I also read some kind of statistic in Canada recently about a very low people's, I think the people's opinion, Canadian people's opinion, public opinion on China is the lowest in the history. But I think Canadians should also read the Chinese data as well. It's even much lower. When I was in China, people just have a very bad opinion about Canada. They called Canada a running dog of the United States, and the Chinese believe firmly that the Madame Wang's case is a political case, whereas the Canadian argument is that it is judicial and legal case. So we are just cross each other and into different directions, because the Chinese position was confirmed by the remark of President Trump. So, no matter how Canada try to argue, no, we are not, affected by the political direction. But the Chinese, they never believe it. So now it's in a very bad period in a relationship between Canada and China. What bothers the Chinese government or China is that there are so many Chinese living in Canada. That's the problem, because you cannot just ignore the Chinese, overseas Chinese, and large number of overseas Chinese living in Canada. So this is just my extra point. Yeah.